Hi friends, today we are going to see the 9th lesson plan from the topic Bryophytes, Unit Plant Kingdom, Standard 8. As usual, fill up the first page details. Topic Bryophytes, Unit Plant Kingdom, Class 8th. Instructional objectives. The pupil acquires the knowledge about general characters of bryophytes, classify bryophytes into 3 classes, explain the different classes of bryophyta with illustrations, discuss the economic importance of bryophytes, describe the general characters of pteridophytes, classify pteridophytes, list out the economic importance of pteridophytes, differentiate the bryophyte and pteridophyte. Instructional resources. Chart depicting the classification of bryophytes and pteridophytes, flashcard showing the economic importance of bryophytes, hanging chart to show the difference between bryophytes and pteridophytes. Now we will move on to the previous knowledge. The teacher asks a question to the students to test their previous knowledge. Name the process through which plants make their own food. What is the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction? Based on what criteria plants can be classified? Do you know the term vascular tissue, xylem and phloem and its functions? What are rhizoids and its functions? Recall the plant cell wall and its function. Now we will move on to the main content. Declaration of the topic, Bryophytes. In content, bryophytes are primitive, simplest group of plants, terrestrial and non-vascular cryptograms. And they don't have any vascular tissues. Now here the teacher is defining. The teacher defines the term bryophytes and the student listens to the bryophyte introduction. Gametophyte is dominant and saprophytic generation is dependent on gametophyte. They have rhizoids, so remains fixed. Sexual reproduction is oogamous. Sex organs are antheridia and archegonia. The teacher describes the basic characters of bryophytes. The student follows the characteristics of bryophytes described. What are the general characters of bryophytes? Next, anthrozoid swims together with archegonium makes the zygote, which is 2n. Zygote, when undergoing meiosis process, become the haploid spore N. Spore is the first cell of the gametophytic generation. So the teacher is explaining this process. The teacher explains the reproduction cycle of bryophytes. The student understands them. Evaluation, you put up the question. Spore is the first cell of dash generation. Now we move on to the next page. Classification. Bryophyta is classified into 3 classes as class 1 Hepatica, class 2 Anthocerote and class 3 Muci. So we just brief each class. As Hepaticae as lower form, example Rica. Class 2 Anthocerote, which is a gametophyte, is undifferentiated, example Anthoceros. Class 3 Muci, which is the higher form and it is differentiated into stem and leaf-like parts. So here the teacher classifies bryophyta into 3 classes and explains their basic characters. The student interprets them and follows. Bryophytes are classified into how many classes? You can put up this question. Next, uses. Bryophytes prevent soil erosion. Sphagnum absorbs large amount of water used in gardens. States. The teacher states the economic importance of bryophytes and the student listens to them. How bryophytes are useful. Next content. Pteridophytes are first true land plants with xylem and phloem called vascular cryptogams. The teacher outlines the general characters of pteridophytes. What is pteridophyte? Is the evaluation part. Next, reproduce by means of micro or megaspores. Before that, we complete this specification. The student follows the general characters of pteridophytes. Next, reproduce by means of micro or megaspores. The teacher points out the pteridophyte reproduction. Ferns used as ornamental plants. Sporocarp of Marsilia is used as food by tribal people. Here the teacher lists out the uses of pteridophytes. The student write it down in their notebook. You can ask, what are the uses of pteridophytes? Next comes the recapitulation part. Give the general characters of bryophytes and pteridophytes. What are the economic importance of bryophytes and pteridophytes? Differentiate bryophyte and pteridophyte. Classify bryophytes. Follow-up activity. Write the difference between bryophytes and pteridophytes in your notebook. Classify bryophytes. Give your student signature sign and wind up. Thank you, friends.